Hi, Merch Money. It's been so long.
It
So,
has.
so good to see everybody. I see Laura. Hi, Laura. So I'm sorry, guys. This show was not announced in advance, so I don't know how many people we'll have on tonight. But welcome to everybody who's joining, and everyone who is watching the replay later.
Yeah.
So Christina and I are both here, but we decided not to have a guest tonight. We're just gonna talk to you guys, catch up, let us know what we've been up to the last 3 weeks. We planned to take 2 weeks off, and it kind of rolled into 3 weeks because there was Memorial Day weekend, and then I don't know. We kind of got out of the habit. So
yes,
Patty's here. Laura's saying feels like an eternity.
It has.
Yes. Christina and I were like, do we remember how to do this? Like trying to go live. It's like is our mic set up right? So, well, it's good to see all these familiar faces. And Teresa, you're so amazing. You're here whether we give notice or not. Thank you so much for being here.
Yep. Oh, thanks, Patty.
Patty says Christina is glowing. And then there's me.
No.
Oh, Mario. It's so good to see you guys. I love this channel, all the people that have been with us so long.
Yes, yes.
And then Melinda. So good to see everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patty. Patty, I'm going to. Thanks. It's okay if I'm not. I just had to say that. So where should we start, Christina? Oh, Bran's here. Hey, Bran. And Laura Wolf. We got everybody.
Wow.
So first of all, guys, let us know. How have you guys been the last 3 weeks? It's been so long since we got a chance to talk to everybody and see all of you. So let us know how you're doing. I hope that all of you are safe. I know there's so much going on in the world right now, so I hope you're safe. I hope that your business is doing okay, or your job, or whatever you're in. Hope that everything is going okay. And let's update them on what we've been up to. Well, how have you been, Christina?
Oh boy, it's been a year, hasn't it? Yeah, I'm with Bram stir crazy. So so for those of you that watch, you know that I have a little cottage up at Lake Erie. And when we came up, we had to open it up late this year due to COVID. So we didn't get to open it, didn't get to start opening it until early May, and found a lot of problems, of course. So we had a big water leak and had to have a lot of construction done, and thought we got everything resolved. And now I'm repainting, and redoing everything on the inside so that it matches again. And then we had a power issue this week, or last week, I'm sorry. We've got, the cottage is very, very old. It was built probably in the 1920s or 1930s, and had a really old electrical box. And
tell them about that. You told them after about that.
Yeah. So those of you that have been around for a while and are, have a lot of experience in the world. I don't like to say older individuals, but a lot more experience. So our electrical box was still the kind where there are these things that screw in. They look like the end of light bulbs, and they're glass on the end. And those are the actual breakers and fuses in the box. There aren't those little switches that switch back and forth like in the breaker box. It's these things that screw in, and you get one chance. When the breaker flips, it blows that thing, and then you have to replace it. And ours just failed. So we had 3 or 4 outlets that work. The rest of them didn't. It was starting to get hot up here. Air conditioning wouldn't work. I had no hot water. So it's been a just a money pit this year and a lot of work. So, so that's been going on for me.
That
So,
was, yeah, a lot of what you were dealing with the past 3 weeks.
yeah.
So, and is anybody else writing what they've been going through? Let's see. Laura's saying she's enjoying the summerish weather. It is really nice day here today.
It is.
Oh, Laura's saying she had those in her first house.
Yes, they're crazy. I remember I was like, what is this? Like when
I had never heard of it.
in.
So Christina told me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Patty, it sounds like there's some bad things going on in Chicago, unfortunately.
Yeah. Same with DC by me.
Yeah. Ugh.
So
Yeah.
we have some other cities closer to me than, like, DC is the biggest city by me, but then I'm in Prince William County and there's been protests here too. So
yeah.
but anyway, it's a real hard time in the world right now. Like just so much going on. So much.
BJ said, I just told my wife, listen, she's going to say that she has screw and fuses. And yes.
Hey, BJ, how are you? So my last 3 weeks have been nuts. Like okay. So you guys, I didn't realize like how much I was straying from print on demand until Christina like brought it up and she started changing like the graphics and stuff. She's like, I feel like we should be a little bit more broad because I started having guests from all over the place on the show. And I started just doing like the what's it called? The morning routine and stuff like that. Like I was just, this channel is basically whatever I'm going through. It's like, that's what the show is about. So it was like getting less and less print on demand. And then I didn't really realize, but I was like, okay, what should we do about that? Like we needed to be about print on demand. But anyway, so that was already happening. The other thing that was happening is I realized last year I set up so many meetups and went to so many conferences, and I didn't realize how important that was. Like part of the reason I started the channel and part of the reason I did all of those meetups and the conferences is because I had been self-employed for 5 years at that point, and now I'm up to 7 years. Like it's literally been 7 years. It went so fast. But I am not completely introverted. I'm not completely extroverted either, but I'm definitely not completely introverted. So that like being home all day by myself had really started to get to me by last year. So last year I was just like, okay, meetups all the time. Like I was constantly traveling, constantly trying to do shows to talk with people. And so now it's a whole nother year later. And then coronavirus hit and we weren't supposed to go anywhere. So now it's like I couldn't even do the meetups, couldn't do the conferences. I'm just home by myself. And I already know how to do print on demand. So it wasn't like part of what was exciting about being an entrepreneur and self-employed is like you're constantly learning and constantly pushing yourself. And I kind of reached this point where I kind of was sort of complacent. Like I sort of just knew how to do what I was doing. So there wasn't any like big hard thing I was going towards. Like it was no big challenge, let's put it that way. So there was no big challenges, no people to interact with. I was doing the show twice a week, so that helped, but there was no meetups, no conferences, nothing. And now we're at 7 years. 7 years. So I started to definitely go stir crazy. I know a ton of people have gone stir crazy in this whole pandemic. I know there's a lot of people that wish they could, go back to school, go back to work, go back to all these places. But it was a combination of that and a combination of realizing how much stuff I was posting that was not print on demand related. And those two things together made me realize, you know what, I think I need to go back to sales for a little while. I need to go back to my roots of sales, because sales, you're interacting with people all day. So you're talking with the customer, you're talking with your coworkers, you're basically in front of people all day long. And I really miss that. So I had been in mortgage, I guess 7 years ago. After the housing crisis, up until 7 years ago, I did mortgages. So I thought about going back to that, but I really wanted a challenge. Like I really love learning something new and having a challenge. So, so I thought about what I could do. And somehow I was like, what about working at a car dealership? And I said it out loud to Christina, and I said it out loud to one of my friends. And one of my friends was like, oh, I know someone at the car dealership by us. So she told the person there, and they're like, oh, we're looking to hire people. So I didn't even apply or anything. They just were like, oh, would you like to work here? So guys, I'm working at Toyota car dealership. I started today selling cars. I know nothing about cars at all, nothing about Toyota, nothing about any of it. But I was like, it's a challenge. It's something new. I'm the only female salesperson there. So I was the only, one of the only female loan officers too. For some reason, like sales is just not something that women gravitate towards. And I don't think cars either. Although Christina says she loves cars. I don't. I was telling Christina, I'm like, I went on the lot today and looked at all the cars. And I'm like, I can't tell the difference between a Toyota Camry and a Toyota Corolla, like the 2021s. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So, so today was my first day. So Bram says, how many did you sell?
Well,
today was my first day. I don't have a license yet, so I can't sell anything yet. The DMVs are just starting to open by me, and they are not scheduling the tests yet. You have to get a license at the DMV to sell cars. So it'll be another week or so. I scheduled it today, but it's going to be next week. That is the first available time. So for the next week, it'll just be training. I can't sell anything. But next week, after that test, as long as I pass it, anybody who needs a Toyota, come on.
Yeah.
It'll be something crazy. I have no idea. So just letting you guys know, that's the crazy thing I'm doing right now. I don't know if I'm going to be good at it. I don't know if I'm going to do it for a long time or if it's going to be something quick. I really have no idea. But I just needed a challenge. I needed to be around people. I needed to learn something new. So that's what I'm doing. Gonna learn something new. I know how to sell, but I don't know anything about cars. So the challenge is going to be learning cars quickly.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see how fast I can learn it. But I think it'll be a lot of fun. Look at all the nice comments.
Yeah.
Oh, Donna's saying she was the only female too. I sold cars for 2 months in 2004. 8 weeks later, they laid off all of us newbies. Well, that could definitely happen again. So the problem with the YouTube channel and Facebook group is you kind of have to say stuff before you're ready. So, I mean, literally tomorrow I could be like, just kidding, guys. I still can't tell the difference between a Corolla and Camry, and I'm quitting. That could happen. So we'll just see how it goes. But for now, it's really fun, and it's a fun challenge, and it's learning something new. Like learning is the most important thing. I feel like you have to keep learning, and it gets a little more challenging. Like, unfortunately, the older you get, I'm at 37, so I'm not like so old, but I'm old enough where it's a little hard to learn something brand new.
Yep.
But I think that's like. It's just, I just need to do it. And I think, I'm wondering, I was telling Christina, I'm like, I wonder how many other people are having experiences like this. Like, has anyone else completely changed everything? Because you have to be able to pivot in times like this. And I know so many small businesses, like if you've owned a restaurant or you've owned a gym or something, like so many people are having to close their companies and start something different. So I'm just wondering, Loretta's saying Toyota is a good car. They sell themselves. Exactly. As long as I don't mess it up and like say something totally wrong. But yeah, I agree. I think they'll just sell themselves.
Yes. And is it new or used? I guess I didn't ask that?
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly new. Like in the beginning, they're actually only going to let me sell new cars because used cars actually takes more skill because they're all different and there's little idiosyncrasies with each one. But new, it's like pretty straightforward. It's like, okay,
Yep.
this is what you're getting. So at
Yep.
least the first couple weeks, I'm only allowed to sell new. And then after that, once I sell a few and they're more comfortable, they'll let me do used too.
Used to. That's cool. Yeah.
Yay, Donna. I was 45 at the time. You can do it. Thank you. Exactly. It's so crazy. It's like 37 is so, I know it's so young, but at the same time, my stepson just turned 17 and I never was able to have kids. So I'm kind of going through like almost like a midlife thing because it's like, what am I going to do the rest of my life? It's like he's all grown up almost. And we'll see. But I think it's exciting with print on demand. You can do things like this. You can take a break. I mean, what if you just wanted to travel the world for a year? You can do it. Once I got to my goal of, the 10K on merch, and it's growing. I'm sure, if it was open again, I'd probably tear up pretty soon. But once it's listed, it's like those shirts can keep selling. The books on KDP can keep selling. The shirts on all the other platforms can keep selling. So I think it's kind of nice to just like get to enjoy that, get to enjoy some of the passive income aspect of this because it was so much work building it up. Like in the beginning, everybody's like, this is not passive income. This is so much work. But once you put in all the work, it's like, okay, well, now I just get to enjoy the income coming in.
Yes.
Oh, I love all these stories. Christine saying, I'm 38. Last year in May, I quit my manager job at the museum I worked at for 17 years. Wow.
That's
to
awesome.
do POD full time. Yeah, I did something similar where, and that's a whole nother story, guys. So if you're Christine and anyone else who's done that, that's what I did. I quit my job. I guess I was only 30. Yeah, I quit my job at 30 and completely went full time with FBA and then full time with merch. But you can do whatever you want. I tell my husband or my stepson that I'm like, I know everybody likes to be a kid. I'm like, I love being a grown up. You can do what you want. I quit my job, took 7 years off, and now I'm like, I want to do a job again. And I'm a grown up. I can do it.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever you want. If you decide you want to go back to a job, that's fine. If I decide to only sell cars for a year or two and go back to full-time POD, that's fine too. If we decide to start another channel all about morning routines and positive thinking and all that, the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want.
Yes.
But I think we're definitely going to keep the channel going. So let's talk about that. So Christina, talk about your thoughts about keeping the channel going and all of that.
Yeah, so I'm not going anywhere. I have no desire to go back out into the real world, but I do miss people this year. I would say that has impacting me some, and I've realized that I'm spending way too much time with my husband. So we love each other, but man, when you spend 24/7 with someone for like how many months now? 4 months, 5 months on this.
455, I think. That's what we're up to.
Yeah. So, but yes.
For any of you watching this years later, you will never understand. Like these 3 months have been like 35 years.
Yes, the longest 3 months of all of our lives combined. So, but I will still be here. So now, because I'll be doing it primarily myself at the beginning, because we want to give Helen time to, learn her new job and immerse herself in, learning all of the things that she needs to learn to be successful. She's not going to be able to help me out as much as she does now. I mean, she's normally the one who schedules all of the guests and does all of that. So we'll still have shows. We probably won't be doing them every Monday. It'll be a little bit more sporadic until I can get a new routine down. They might not always be on Monday nights for the time being. So Helen's schedule is going to be a little bit different. So it's going to, it'll vary week to week based on the other people and based on when sales are the best, for car sales and things like that. So we're going to see how her schedule goes. We'll still be doing the show like at night in the evening at 8 o'clock. But it might be different nights of the week, but we'll ask everyone to, subscribe to the channel. We'll always get a notification out in advance.
Yes, click the bell notification so you get notified when we're going live, because I would like to still be, part of it and still be active in the group and in the show. But I just can't always do Monday. I mean,
right.
First of all, Mondays are holidays, which are big sales days. But also, I just never know if I'm going to be having working with a customer and it lasts longer than my scheduled time. Like might not be able to make it back in time. So for at least the next couple months, Christina's going to take charge. She's going to lead the group, and I'm just going to help when I can. And then after that, we'll see how it goes and try to figure out a good routine. But I think it'll be fun, and I think it'll be, reinvigorate me, get me excited again about life and everything. And print on demand can work around your schedule. You can do it whenever you want. That's the greatest thing about print on demand. If I have a day off, I could just work on print on demand all day. But if I get busy, you could take a couple weeks off. So that's one of the greatest things about print on demand, I feel like.
Yes. And I think that, I think this is going to make us even more well-balanced. So, we've both been doing this full time. So a lot of, I can empathize with the situation of someone who has a full-time job and trying to build a print on demand business, or kind of trying to manage those two things. But I truly don't know what it's like. And now Helen will be experiencing that. She'll still be trying to maintain everything. And at some point, she'll probably continue trying to upload and things like that. And it'll be interesting to see those two different perspectives. So I love that she's going to have that new experience to bring to the table.
Yep. And I think it'll be fun to see the, new dynamics, like to have you do the interviews and ask all the questions. I think it'll be a new spin on some of the interviews. I think it'll be really great.
Yeah.
So, and guys, if you want to be on the show and if you want to talk with Christina, definitely let us know. I have been a little crazy and busy the past few weeks, so we really only have 1 or 2 shows lined up. Normally I'm like lined up months in advance, so we kind of just let it slow down. So if anybody's looking to be on the show, we can fit you in.
Absolutely. Definitely. Yes.
I love all the comments.
Yeah, lots of people watching. Janelle's like, shoot, I'm late.
Janelle, don't worry. We did not give notice. So I am so surprised there's so many people watching right now, because this was very spur of the moment.
Yes, it was. And, I know a lot of the people who are tuning in, I think, do print on demand full time. But I know there are several of you that also have, full-time jobs and also do print on demand. So, so if you're one of those people, let us know. What's the other thing? I am still working on the cottage this week. I had hoped to be back home. And hopefully we'll be done this week, maybe can be back home by later this week. So at that point, then I will start getting some people scheduled. We do have, is it Luke? I think Luke is scheduled for this Thursday. So we will still be doing the noon show.
I do have Thursday. To message him to confirm, because that was scheduled like 2 months ago.
A while ago.
So he's still available.
Okay.
But he's definitely scheduled soon, if not this Thursday.
Yeah. May the force be with you.
Oh, I like Loretta's comment.
Yes.
Said best of luck. May the force be with you. Awesome. And then Christine, yeah, it is nice to be able to just focus on one thing. That's why
It is.
That's why I went full time, because especially in the beginning, there's so much to learn. Like I had so much to learn about FBA and so much to learn about print on demand, and even just wanting to interview everyone that had to do with print on demand, just so I could learn from everyone. It takes a lot of effort in the beginning. But I think that's what's so exciting with print on demand. Like it takes a lot of effort, but at the same time, you can stop and go whenever you want to. So now that I've put in all the effort the last at least 2 years, but I really started before that. I was just also doing FBA. But all that effort, it's like, okay, now steady stream of income that's just there.
Yeah.
And you can do whatever you want with the rest of your time. So
Sue Fish, yeah, she says, I love your description of a fuse. Too funny. Never thought of the youngins never seeing a fuse. Yeah, no clue what that. I was like, what is this thing? Like, is it a light bulb that's like defective? What are these things? So yeah,
it's so funny how much has changed in the last like 100 years, really. But even in the last 20 years, like so much has changed. I know, like with Henry is the same. Like my stepson is the same thing. Like sometimes he doesn't know stuff that to me it's just obvious, but I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah, yeah. The best thing, the funniest thing I ever had happen was I took my nephew, and he is now, gosh, he's 20 now. But when he was like 7 or 8, I took him for a ride in one of our old vehicles. So we have a 1966 Chevy step-side pickup truck. For those of you that know what car that is.
I'm gonna have to be a person that knows cars soon.
I know. Yeah, it's a kind of like it's a cool old Chevy truck. It's called a step side, because it's got these like flares kind of like over the back tires, and then there's like a step that goes in kind of, and it's got a cool like wooden bed and all that stuff. But any rate, took him for a ride in this, and it was like a summer day, and I put my window down, and he's like looking for the button. Okay, this is a 1960. He's like, where are the buttons to roll the windows down? And I was like, see that knob? I'm like, you're gonna have to crank that thing, man. And he's like, what? He's like, how old is this thing? And I was like, look, this is old, but we still had to do this like in the 90s. Okay. So it's not like this technology hasn't been around that long. So he's like, man. And so he's cranking it and cranking it. I bet it took him 10 minutes to get that darn window down, because he was like, how do you do this? He's like, this is terrible. How did you live like this? I'm like, yeah.
Mario, he says, I've been serving the last 26 years to life in banking. I love that description. My dream is full-time e-commerce and entrepreneurship before I'm older and grayer.
Aw.
Well, yep.
It can happen.
I did banking too. I liked it, but at the same time, it's like I got enamored with FBA and so many things. There's definitely something to be said for sticking with something long term. I kind of wish that I was like that. Like, I always looked up to my dad. He was in computer programming his whole life. But at the same time, it's exciting to try all new things all the time. And sometimes it works together. Like you end up, one thing helps in a different thing. And it's surprising like how many things you end up needing in a different industry, or it helps you in some way.
Yes. And Janelle, yes, ours does have the wings too. So, so there's the one main window that rolls down, and then there's the other one that flips out, basically. So yes, Janelle. Oh yeah, Patty's talking about the telephone now.
Dialing numbers. And things like that, like you don't realize like where the word initiated from. Like dialing is like, it's like dialing instead of like pushing buttons. rolling down the window. Like you say these phrases and you forget, like, oh yeah, we used to literally roll down the window.
Yes.
So many phrases like that. It's like the technology changes, but the phrase sticks.
Yes. Oh, and Laura said you might end up with tons of ideas for car shirts. That's true.
Exactly. You just never know.
I actually have some car shirts because I have friends who sell cars,
Yeah.
and I created a few different ones that are sort of like little catchy phrases, basically, like so that when they go out on the weekends or whenever, they'll wear those and people will ask them about them, and then they can, kind of bring them into the dealership that way. So
yeah. And also just talking to people all day, every day. It's like I'm gonna learn things, learn ideas for shirts, learn ideas for businesses, learn so much because you're talking to people all day long and finding out
yes.
what they do for a job and, learning about them. So it'll definitely, I'm sure, open my eyes to all kinds of different ideas and business ideas and things. All right, Joanne, let's see this comment. I will never have a proper job again after our move into Canada 4 years ago. I decided I wasn't going down that route again, too much stress. So I got a part-time office cleaning job, just 4 hours a night, no weekends. It's great, like cleaning, but it suits me. I'm a total introvert, so love working on my own, but I need to have a regular income. Yeah, life is so crazy. It's like, the great thing is there's so much flexibility now. Like you can have a full-time job. I always kind of thought like there's no way I could have a job again because I've been self-employed for 7 years. I'm like, who would ever hire me? Like I just assumed I was unhireable. But it was so interesting just to like have an idea in my head and say it out loud, and all of a sudden there's like person on the phone inviting me in. Like it was like I didn't even have to apply. And selling cards is commission, so it's not really a big deal. But you just never know what's going to happen, how life's going to go. I'm sure we could rewind back to previous shows. I'm sure I've said that I would never work again anywhere. I'm almost positive I've said that before. But you just don't know. Like I didn't know how a pandemic would affect me. I just didn't.
Wow. I know.
And it's so hard to see yourself clearly. Like everybody else can see you better than you can see yourself. So it took Christina noticing how much I wasn't talking about print on demand. And it took a pandemic and several other different things happening in my life where I'm like, you know what? Why do I not want to go back to I didn't even not like my job. Like I loved my job. There was nothing bad about it. I just love learning. I'm very good at sales. So, and sales, you can make so much money. It's like, why am I just letting all of that go? Especially when you can have passive income too. It's like, why would I not want to make more? So who knows? And guys, I have no idea. I mean, that's the problem with having a YouTube channel. You have to just say what's happening in your life because that's how life is now. We have to be transparent. So
yeah,
I could literally fail the salesperson test next week and be like, just kidding, guys, I'm back to full-time print on demand.
You know what?
We just don't know. But it's just something, if cars doesn't work out, who knows? Maybe I'll do mortgage. Maybe I'll do something else. I was joking with my husband. I'm like, maybe I'll sell jets.
There you go.
Like meet people who buy jets.
Oh man, that I might consider.
Right? Or like yachts or something, like sell yachts. I think it'd be so fun.
Yeah.
So who knows? I can't tell you what's going to happen next week. All I know is that I love talking to people. I love interacting with people. You guys can see that because I love doing this show and interviewing all the guests. So sales and talking to people, that's just a part of my life. And it's something that I haven't focused on that much, except on the interview side. But it's something I'm going to focus on a little bit more, but we'll see. We'll just see how it all goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's exciting. So
yeah,
I think it's, this whole time, this year has just been, for me about like evaluating myself, evaluating my life, what do I enjoy? What do I not enjoy? I mean, we've had a lot of time to think. That's for
Yes.
sure,
So many people have made changes in their lives during this time because it's a very good contemplative time. Is that the right word? I don't know. A time to be introspective and see like,
Mhm.
and look at your relationships too. I mean, like Christina said, her relationship suffered, my relationships definitely suffered. So it's a time to look and see like, are you with the right person? Are things going well? I mean, I told you that I told everybody, I was like, man, this like morning routine thing is brutal because not only was it the pandemic time, so people were already being introspective, but then I was also doing a morning routine that was like designed around observing your life and thinking like, what do you want to do? And thinking about your dreams and everything. And it was kind of rough, like going through all that and realizing things that I had let go and realizing things that I wasn't really going after anymore. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Let me see what Donna's saying. 2004 was my year for sales. I sold cars, closet organizers, and radio sales. So let's say commission only was a tough ride. Yeah, commission. So my progression was fully salary. Then I was, how did it work? I was salary plus like bonuses and things like that. And then I went full commission with mortgage. And then I went full self-employed, which to me, that's the other thing, like about whether you have a job or not a job. I feel like commission is almost exactly the same thing as being a sole proprietor. Like there's very little difference. I would love to. I never really intended to be a sole proprietor for 7 years. Like to me, I was thinking, oh, I'll be a sole proprietor for 1 year and then I'll hire people and build this whole business. And then somehow 7 years went by and I'm like, dang it, I'm still a solopreneur. How did that happen? So solopreneurship and commission is very, very similar.
Yeah.
You're entirely responsible for your own income. And the thing with commission is that at least there's people that can help you a little bit. Like you have a brand that's established, you have other people in the office that you can, ask questions or, compete against or something. Like you have other people. Solopreneurs, like, okay, not only are you responsible for your own income, but you're alone. Like you've got to do it completely on your own.
Yeah.
So, but I liked it. I mean, that was a challenge. I'm so happy that I got to experience all of them, like salary, commission, solopreneurship. So I think eventually I would love to start like a real company with a lot of employees and not have it be solopreneurship, have it be like a real small business or medium-sized business. But we'll see. Not yet. I just don't have enough idea yet.
Yeah.
So right now it's about just making as much money as I can, saving, paying things off, making sure I have as many streams of income as possible. And then at some point, it'll be the right time to start a big business.
Exactly.
Like how I did that. I went from small business, medium, big business.
Yeah.
It's not too late to become Mark Zuckerberg.
It's never too late.
Never too late.
So, yep. And my career has been, for those of you who followed me, it's like I spent many years climbing the corporate ladder, thought I wanted to be a CEO of a company, and just realized that I didn't like making money for other people. Like, I was very successful and made a lot of money for other people and decided just to see if I could do it on my own. But now that I'm like doing print on demand, I also don't really want to go back to managing people either. So that's my challenge is, I kind of like being just responsible for myself at this point. Like, I managed people for so long and Not that it's a bad thing. It's definitely the way to grow a business. It's the only way to grow a business.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot do it all yourself.
I didn't really enjoy managing people either, but I did it. I mean, I was a manager of 23 people when I was a manager at Macy's. That was my first job. So I'm 21, 22 years old, managing 23 people that were mostly older than me. And then I was a bank manager, so I forget how many. It was like 10 or so people there. But I was too young. Like I didn't really understand. I was definitely like a manager instead of a leader. Like I really just hadn't had enough life experience to know how to be a manager. But I feel like if I did it this time around, like let's say I figure out cars and I like it, which right now is like a far stretch, but I'm gonna try.
Never know.
Let's say I can figure it out and I like it and I do well. You can end up being like there's things you can do after that if you wanted to. Like you could become a GM of a store, or you could lead, I think they have like group manager kind of things. So you could end up being a leader within the store if you wanted to. And I feel like now I would be much better at it because now I've had more experience and I've learned more like how to actually lead instead of manage. And I think that I would do better at it. I don't think I would like, you don't like it when you haven't really learned how to do it right. I feel like once you learn how to just inspire people and help them grow, it's more exciting.
It is.
So I think I would, we'll see. I think I would be better at it now. There's good and bad getting older. There's a lot of good. It's really exciting when you're like piling up skills and learning new things and realizing things that you didn't know how to do when you were younger. And then now you're like, oh, what? I wish I could have been a better manager back then.
I know.
For anybody watching, I'm so sorry. I mean, my past employees. I'm better now, I promise.
Oh gosh. Yeah. And it always depends on the industry that you're a manager in. I'll be honest, I've managed people in lots of different industries and it's very different everywhere. So it really depends on what you're doing and, if the employees are passionate about what they're doing.
It's not easy when you're managing people that are making minimum wage or just above minimum wage. So that's hard anyway. Even now, it would still be hard. But then combine that with being young and being like so worried about everything. Like I had to be so perfect and I cared so much what people thought. Now it's like not a problem.
Yes.
Let's see. Christine saying, I had trouble when I was promoted to manager from supervisor. I was much better at inspiring people than having to discipline. I hated having to sit down someone and write them up. Yep.
Completely understand.
It's tricky. We'll see. Right now I don't have to manage people, so
just yourself. Just yourself.
But yeah, it definitely can be tricky. And
I don't know who Julia R is, but she's funny. So she's like, this is the first time I've seen you live. I'm only up because I've been drinking.
Well, we're so happy you're up.
Yeah, this is an interesting show to start with.
Is this really late for you? Where are you from? It's 8:43 here. I don't know. Let's see. My perfect life is my home. It's a Class B RV. I travel the U.S. Oh my gosh! Taking wildlife pictures along the way. Amazing.
That's awesome.
Amazing. Yeah, flexibility is really nice.
Yeah. Now, Donna, do you do anything with those wildlife pictures? Do you have like a digital download store or anything like that where you sell those so that you could make money on that aspect as well?
Julia's saying she's in the UK.
Okay.
I figured it sounded like, yeah. So it's probably midnight, 1 a.m, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, this is an interesting one to start with, Julia. This is not our typical format. So
I don't know if you've seen any of our other shows, but definitely if you want to learn about print on demand, this is not the right show.
No.
Any of our previous ones, yes.
Yes. Yes,
This is
yes,
just catching up with everyone and letting y'all know what we've been up to.
yes. And that's the other thing, once we do start having shows again, one thing that Helen and I have noticed, one thing I've really noticed is that I love print on demand. But I also realized some of the downsides, especially during COVID. And that was printing partners who had to close up shop. So that really affected my business. So part of my goal for the rest of 2020 is to create some digital download stores. So then it's just me responsible, and my customer can do whatever they need to with those files. So
Yes.
yes, Donna, that's cool. Oh, me too, Donna. I love macro photography of insects. I'm not really great at it, but I've got a few. I've got like some grasshoppers and some caterpillars and things like that.
I don't know anything about this, Christina.
Yeah, I'll have to send you. Macro photography
so many
is
hobbies.
I do. I'm all over the place. But yeah, macro photography, there's like a special like lens that you can put on like a camera, and it's like a very, very like zoomed lens basically. And you can take pictures of like insects if they will cooperate. I mean, you can see like I'll post one in Merch Money so you can see. Like you can see all the fine detail on like the grasshopper's legs. It looks like he has little like thorns on his legs. It's just so cool to see things that are normally so small up close like that. So
cool.
Make a pop socket. Nice. Yes, macro photos can look amazing. It takes a lot of experience. I mean, it's just trying it over and over, and it's tough. I mean, when you're trying to photograph insects, they don't always cooperate. So you do, Teresa. Yes. Teresa says that her daughter loves macro photography too. Even if it's not macro, if it's just regular photography, that's something that you can do in an Etsy store. If you're a photographer, you can upload those digital files and save them, and then people can download those. They can print them out. There's so many different, they could print them on their home printer if they have like a photo printer. A lot of places have apps, like you can print them at Walmart or Walgreens. You can get canvas prints. So so if you have a hobby like that, it's pretty easy to turn that into something that could make money. So, and that's the tiny little print on demand portion of our show for tonight.
We had to fit something in.
Yeah.
Related. I had to wear my Merch Money shirt so you guys could know that you're still on the Merch Money channel.
Yes.
Even though we're not talking about merch. Oh man. So what else? What's everybody been up to? What would you like us, like, who would you like us to interview? What would you like us to talk about on the show or in the group? What's everybody working on? Like, merch has been down for a while. I mean, I know it's back up now, but you still can't upload. So what have you guys been doing in the meantime? Are you doing KDP? Are you doing Etsy? Are you doing printables? We've definitely had some people on the show talking about printables, because that's something that both of us have been working on, because we could definitely see that is the benefit of not having to worry about your print on demand partners or anything. Yeah, Laura's saying she's focusing on printables. Awesome. Yeah, printables are great.
Yes, and Teresa, yes, absolutely. I use some photographs on KDP covers sometimes, just notebooks, blank journal covers. Yeah. I always feel like for KDP, you can kind of make either the cover unique or the interior unique, or both?
Yeah.
And if it's a photograph that you've taken or someone, you know, in your family's taken that's given you authorization to use, that makes it unique. So.
Yep. And I think somebody else said pop sockets too. Like I've definitely done
yes.
photos for pop sockets.
Yes. Local marketing. Patty's been working on some really interesting stuff. Patty,
You've been amazing.
Maybe you should come on the show and tell us more about your local marketing stuff that you've been working on.
Yeah, Patty, we got to sign you up again. I think she tried to sign up and then somehow it didn't save. Like it never showed up on our calendar. But we did try to have Patty on one time. Let's see. Etsy has been on fire. It's been amazing. It's still going strong. Awesome. May was the best month I've ever had. Yay! I'm so happy.
It's great.
I'm so happy you started a channel, Christine. That makes me so happy. Guys, definitely check out her YouTube channel.
Yes, please
is
it
called Christine or is there something else? What's it called, Christine? I forget. I know I'm subscribed, but is it just your name? Oh, I could just probably click on her name and see if it takes me to the channel.
It's called something else. I'm trying to remember. I have to look at my. And Christine also has a Patreon.
Oh, it's called The Artist POD. Awesome.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
Hey, Lance. Joe Clay taught me KDP, and he's pushing me into printables next. I've been uploading to KDP, and thanks to Pixel Pod Studio prize I won on your annual anniversary show, I'm learning a lot there too. Awesome, Mario. I'm so glad you won that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Laura's saying that this pandemic made her focus more on printables. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it was just a good reminder to everyone to diversify, which everybody knew I didn't diversify that well. Like I was too heavy on merch. But at the beginning of the year, I had already planned on focusing on KDP. So once the pandemic hit, I had already been working on KDP. But I got to thinking, I'm like, I want to be diversified outside of print on demand.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. So.
Well, thank you guys all for being here. I think that was pretty much all that we wanted to talk about. Do you have any questions for us or anything that you want us to talk about before we wrap this up?
There is one comment Donna made. She said, did you talk about copyrights with the printable? So that's something I want to talk to someone about. I have a friend who has been doing, she's been doing photograph stores on Etsy, digital printable types of things for years. And I want to talk to her about how she manages the copyright for all of her photos. So she's really knowledgeable. I may see if she would be willing to come on the show. She may not. She's a little bit, I would say kind of introverted, but yeah, I'll talk to her and see if I can get some more info, Donna.
Look at all these great comments. Thank you, Christine. She's saying, may the force be with you. Lance is saying he went over to Shopify. Awesome. Teresa's going to use that mug heat press thing she won from Monty.
That's awesome.
Teresa, whenever you use that, definitely, you're always welcome to come on the show. I would love to hear more about that and how it goes.
Yeah.
We almost had Teresa on once. I forget what happened. Somehow it had to get canceled. But if you ever want to come on, you're always welcome.
Yes, absolutely.
Lance saying didn't even know it was the end of the show. You definitely have to watch this one, Lance. This was a totally different show. Just talking and catching up with everybody and lots of new things happening.
Yes.
So, what do you think, Christina? Anything else you wanted to say?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being so awesome, and watching all these shows and staying with us through everything and rolling
Yes.
with whatever we're doing. You just roll with it. Thank you so much. And we're so happy to be here with you guys, and we will keep everybody updated and try to have some great guests on the show and keep learning with print on demand with all of you guys.
Yes, absolutely.
So, all right. Well, I hope everybody has a great night. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.